Mario Kart 8 is a game that exists, and has existed for over 10 years now if you count the Wii U original. I've played the tracks on this game more times than I can count, but I never really had a favorite. That is until today. I'm going to rank every single track in this game to determine which one Mario's the Kart's the best. Mario Kart 8 has a ton of courses, so let's go through all 32 of them. Yup. 32. The tracks will be ranked on 3 aspects on a scale of 1 to 10. Gameplay, music, and visuals. Let's go! It's crazy to me how this is the only track in the Mario Kart series to have Mario Kart in the name. In terms of gameplay, this sure is a tutorial track. The entire Mushroom Cup in this game is like a tutorial, going through the ropes of regular driving, anti-grav, and gliding. The visuals make this track look like an opening spectacle. Cool. Thanks, Nintendo. Continuing on with the tutorial levels, this sure is a tutorial level about the camera shifts in anti-gravity and underwater driving. That's about it. Although this track is a Wario branded stage, I see nothing from Wario. I see more from Mario Sunshine than Wario. Nintendo should have added money laundering or something like that. That would have made sense. The final tutorial of the Mushroom Cup is quite a sweet treat. Laugh. Starting with a shot right up the mountain, then racing down is a real neat concept that I hope is taken to the extreme in a future course. I wonder what I could be talking about here. This is the final track of the Mushroom Cup, and it ties everything the player has learned into a very nice thwomp-shaped bow. The music here is great too. I don't like it more than Sweet Sweet Canyon, but it is indeed a very thwomp ruined sounding song, which is what really matters at the end of the day. You gotta love songs that transport the listener to the place it conveys. As an avid Donkey Kong Country fan, this is one of my favorite retro tracks. Not only does the track have extremely varied gameplay from start to finish, going through the forest, bouncing on the flower, the golden banana, then the final flight with these stone pillars that gave me immense trauma as a child. Now how do I get past my nightmares from this guy? With the banger music, of course! The golden banana is also the sole reason this track has an 8 for graphics, by the way. I hate eating bananas, but if it came down to it. This is one of the 4 Mario circuits in the game. I can't believe that there can be a Mario Circuit Cup. That's wild. Let me tell you, this track is an absolute vibe. The gameplay is on a similar level to Mario Kart Stadium, but the music? The visuals of the track are also great, with the entire track quite literally being the logo of the game. That is so cool. Moving on to the first Double Dash retro track of the game, and it sure is a desert. Yup. The best part of this track is the oasis at the end, which is a nice change of pace from the crazy sandy sections. I do not care for the music, however. Something about desert soundtracks just do not vibe with me. I have no idea what it is, but it surely is something. Mount Wario starts at the very peak of a mountain and you work your way down. The music is even timed for when you land from the helicopter. For gameplay, since this track is just one long stretch instead of 3 laps, you go through many different types of varied terrain which lead all the way to the bottom of the track. I feel like that may be cheating when compared to the other tracks, but I don't care. This is fantastic. The music is great too, and the visuals are very yes, 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 yes. Oh man, this just so happens to be my favorite Mario 64 themed track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I sure hope a solar flare here's my Nintendo Switch OLED model while racing and the game instantly teleports me to first place. That would be cool. This track is pretty neat though. I love how the hands of the clock move every lap. I'm just waiting for the eventual Mario 64 remake when the level looks like this. Please, Nintendo. Mario 64 DS doesn't exist. It's been years since the incident. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Now, as I have said prior, you know that I am a huge music guy, and this track fits the bill so extremely well. Music Park knows what people expect it to be, and it absolutely delivers on every aspect. My favorite part is the marimba and xylophone parts. Reminds me of the time in high school music class known only as The Incident. Now, I'd say the music for this track would be a solid 7, but Nintendo decided to put Mario Galaxy tunes in there, so now And I love the stormy aesthetic in the second half of the track. The gameplay isn't super exciting until the end though, but overall it is a grand time. Now why in the world is this a Wario track, and yet the music is a remix of Waluigi's Pinball? And I wouldn't get the satisfaction of Waluigi's Pinball being in Mario Kart 8 until a decade later, so the music gets docked a bit for that. But when talking about the stadium itself, it's a bit blah. My favorite color is yellow, and I still don't jive with this color scheme. I did enjoy the anti-gravity section of this track though. It was pretty cool. Speaking of... this track is very chill in every aspect of the word. My favorite part has to be my The track is quite varied with multiple paths and underwater segments. And I must say this track does a swell job of emulating what it is like on the warmest day in Canada. I'd say although this track gets overshadowed by crazier tracks, I feel that this is an underappreciated gem. While the track is quite simple, we are still in the Flower Cup, which is just a chill Grand Prix before we get to the heavy hitters. The music I can imagine being played during a nice bike ride by the seaside. I don't have a bike. And the stage is great visually as well. It gave birth to the Luigi Death Stare. How could it not be good? This track is indeed another Mario circuit, but this time it has the funny Ultra hands holding up the track. And I'm not talking no Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly speaking, the most I can say about this track is that it's a fun Mario Kart track. This is the vanilla ice cream of Mario Kart tracks. The default settings of every single thing. The final track in the base game, but not in this video because you are all cowards. Don't skip to the end, I see what you tried to do. So what do I think of this track, which everyone says is the best Rainbow Road in the game? It's pretty great. Not as good as the new Rainbow Road, but it's still cool. I'm a big fan of the train that goes throughout the entire stage, but I feel like it could just be a bit longer. Maybe a 2-lap course, but still, it feels like just as you are about to enjoy the track, it ends. Unlike this video right now. This track exists. And that's really about it. If the cars were a bit faster, I could see this being a more engaging track, but at the end of the day, this is just Mario Circuit, but surprisingly less exciting when there are less things on the road in Mario Circuit. It doesn't help that the track is at night and there isn't much to see since everything is walled off, but it's cool, I suppose. I like this. I have a very love-hate relationship with this track. On one hand, I really like this track for the incredible variety of paths you can take, but at the same time, some of the paths you can take just lose you time, and it is very noticeable. The best way I can describe this track is to relate it to the Zelda timeline. I mean, it's cool that the series has a timeline, but at the same time, no one cares about the Fallen timeline, and no one cares about that canon. Twisted Mansion is a track that I have mixed feelings about. Now, while the gameplay of this track is great with the branching paths, underwater, and glider sections, I am just not vibing with the music at all. I get that it's supposed to be all spooky, but it feels like I'm in an elementary school's haunted house, and if that's the vibe the track was going for, then congratulations. Out of all the tracks in the Special Cup, this one is definitely the odd one out. It's pretty ironic that this is a course I can only describe as dry. It does get some points for the giant Bowser skull, and the flowing sand for some reason leads me to believe that this location was a Bowser's castle in the past. Speaking of... here's probably my favorite Bowser's Castle in the entire series. It's either this one or Mario Kart Wii's Bowser Castle. Seeing the gates open at the start is pretty cool, and it's a shame that other tracks don't do that. Twisted Mansion doesn't exist. I'm very glad this game released after Mario 3D World so it can capitalize off of Jazz Bowser, as well as Mario Kart Wii so they can bring back the classic giant Bowser statue thing. This course has you go through the motions. Whoever Bowser's interior decorator is, I want to hire them, except maybe don't include the spike ball because, well, what is it? What is it? Huh? Why are you looking at spike balls again? Here we are, the track that we all pronounced correctly the first time instead of saying Electrodome. I know what you are. I mean, who would ever mess that up? It says the name right at the start. Gameplay wise, I love what this track does with anti-gravity. Fun fact, the pink path is shorter while the green path has more coins. The music is something I would hear out of Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, and the Shy Guys jamming to the music shoot the visuals up to a 9 for me. Starting off the retro tracks here with a Mario Kart Wii track, which is one of the best moves Nintendo could have done because not only is Moo Moo Meadows just a simple track, the most engaging thing is dodging the cows on the track. The track looks great with it happening in the early morning light, and the music is a jammer as always. A great upgrade to a great Mario Kart Wii track. We are starting off with a banger of a track right here. First off, the track is pretty simple in terms of gameplay. You do a few turns, pass an airplane, go back into the airport, repeat. Now the really exciting part about this track is the music, and oh my goodness, what a tune. If airports had background music, this would play 2 minutes before your flight leaves and you are scrambling to get there. The other tracks being shown on the flight list is also just such a nice touch as well. You know what is crazy? Piranha Plants have gotten a grand total of 2 tracks out of the 96 in this entire game, including the DLC. And you know who doesn't have even one? Luigi. What happened to my main man, Nintendo? What happened? Is it because of the incident? Or am I saying the incident because I don't have a punchline for this joke? This track is one of the best ones from Mario Kart 7, and it's definitely one of the better tracks in this game too. However, I'm still salty about Luigi. Another Mario Kart Wii course and the last one out of the base game retro tracks, and it is probably the best so far. This track has incredible atmosphere with a volcano and lighting, but the main draw of this course is how it crumbles and grumbles after every lap. The music I am not a fan of. I don't think I can accept any volcano or desert song in a game that does not have a crazy bass line. That is the only thing you need to do. Game developers, take notes. Yeah, he's talking about me. First off, let's just get it out of the way. The music is absolutely spectacular, specifically the saxophone version of this track. My high school music class still has PTSD of me shredding this on the saxophone every day. The gameplay, however, isn't as great, but that doesn't mean it isn't great. Tricking off the pipe airflows and the giant unagi provide some extra engagement in the floaty underwater sections. And the pipe cave area looks great, especially when you jump out of the water and see the giant whirlpool and sky. It's Here is one of my personal favorite Rainbow Roads. A lot of people are convinced that it is bad, although I have a feeling that those folks got it from a YouTuber's opinion, so here's another YouTuber's opinion to tell you why it is actually great. First off, the space station concept is just so fantastic. The opening figure 8 turn is great, and the branching path at the end is awesome. I find the general consensus of this track is that it doesn't have enough anti-gravity for literally being in space, and to that I say, do you want to get motion sick? Because the twists and turns are already too crazy. This track is very Now the way you go up a waterfall and then race back down the same waterfall is probably the coolest use of anti-gravity we've seen so far in the game. There is a real neat shortcut at the end, but why would you do the shortcut when that means you miss out on the Shy Guys working away and singing, which adds a vocal track to the song and adds to the theme of the track. It's just so great. Play Pikmin 4. Why did I say that? Now this is probably the best Super Nintendo track in the game with how much life has been poured into the remake. The track itself is alright and is carried by the cool underwater shortcut you can take, but goodness me, the music of this track is so good! If you can take one thing away from this entire video is that a game can be the worst game ever, but if the music is great then I will enjoy it regardless of the quality. This game sucks. This track has such great vibes. This would be a prime vacation spot, and it seems like it actually is with all the chairs and umbrellas by the seaside. Although other than the sign and a few cheap cheaps you barely see, there's not much cheap beach at cheap beach. The track is a fairly simple one. It is just a big oval for the most part, just like my brain. Mario Kart 64 is one of the few games I do not have much experience playing, but I'm glad I don't because this track is great. Any track with cherry blossom trees immediately gets a +1 in the graphics department. The music is honestly more iconic than I give it credit for, but the track in general is pretty simple, although the large amount of cuts you can make gives the track a boost in that regard. And saying boost was completely intentional. Wait, was that all of them?